chapter 10, 25 through 27. On one occasion, an expert in the law stood up to test Jesus. "Teacher," he asked, "what must I do to inherit eternal life?" "What is written in the law?" he replied. He, Jesus, that is. "How do you read it?" He answered, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself." For a few minutes, I just want to talk about it's a setup. It's a setup. John, I need some help. That's why you coming. Okay. All right. So everybody know this. You do know that Jesus had haters, right?
Yeah.
People who wanted him to fail, right? People who always wanted to entrap him, make sure that his stuff got confused and nobody believed in what he was doing. This so-called expert asked Jesus a no-win question. But Jesus looked past the expert's intention and responded to what he needed. One of the most difficult things for us to do in life, brothers and sisters, is to look beyond what people are trying to do, especially when they're trying to do something to me, to us. To truly look beyond it, right? Let me tell you a little something. One of our primary keys to living life, truly living life, and accomplishing things that are important to us, to our life, to our meaning, is to be primarily grounded in who you are and your purpose in life. To have that as our primary grounding, right? Our primary thing that we're responding to. So obviously, I believe that how Jesus responded had everything to do with who he was and what his purpose in life was. Jesus could have been skeptical of everything. Could have lived his life that way. He could have lived his life worried about who was trying to take him out. Worried about who was sincerely searching for the truth of God. But instead, he lived his life in pursuit of fulfilling his purpose. We can spend time and energy answering every attacker and attack, or we can let our lived purpose be our defense. Right? I believe Jesus' life spoke for him, and I believe our life will speak for us. I'm not saying we should never defend ourselves. I am saying that if we try to protect ourselves every time someone had something bad or sinister to say, we would never get anything done. Y'all know that? If we spent our time trying to defend ourselves every time somebody thought something bad, said something bad, had bad intentions for us, we'd never do one positive thing. Right? Whether you hear them, see them, think about them, somebody tell you about them or not, somebody don't like you. Someone don't think you ever do anything right. Somebody think that your life is meaningless. There are people out there who would bring you down if they could. Not because you're a bad person, you did anything to them. They just don't have any good intentions for you. If we could literally spend every waking day, every waking moment defending ourselves, and so end up with our life meaning nothing at all. Or we could focus on who we are and who God created us to be. Amen? So that's a song. Vince actually started off talking about songs. That's a song. May the work I've done speak for me. May the life I've lived speak for me. May the service I give speak for me. When I've done the best I can, and my friends, yes, sometimes them too, don't understand, may the service I give speak for me. And sometimes this is also true. The works I've done seem so small. Sometimes they seem like nothing at all. But when I stand before my God, I want to hear him say, well done. May the works I've done speak for me. Truth is, brothers and sisters, that's the only thing that's going to speak for us. Right? Our mouths can run off at will. But our mouths really don't mean anything if we don't have any true service to back up what we say. Right? We can talk a good game, but if our game don't have any actions, that's all it is. It's just talk. So our life, whether we wanted to or not, will say volumes about who we are and whether or not we live and have meaning in our life. So we better live like our purpose matters more than someone else's intentions. Jesus actually believed his purpose could have someone's intention for lunch. Y'all got that right? He actually lived like his purpose could have somebody else's intention for lunch. So when the expert in the law tried to set him up, Jesus saw an opportunity. I want to live like I don't care about someone else having an agenda, because I believe my agenda is bigger, better, and more powerful. So when the man asked Jesus, what must I do to inherit eternal life? Jesus said, my kind of question, directly in my wheelhouse. That's what I'm here for, to show people the way to God and the way to faith and the way to truth about who God is. It did not matter what the expert's intentions were. Jesus had an agenda to save the lost. The expert really did need eternal life. Brothers and sisters, we all need to know the answer to the same question that he asked. What do we have to do to inherit eternal life? And frequently we come back to this question time and time again, even when we have an answer, to show the importance of that very question. We want to know, have we done enough to secure our destiny, our destination with God? The Lord's answer to the question has not changed. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. In another place, Jesus said, on these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. In that response, Jesus was answering the question, well, what about all the many other things that God commands his followers to do? His answer, if you do these two things, if you accomplish these two purposes, you will fulfill everything else that God requires of you. Love the Lord. How? With all your heart, all your soul, all your strength, and all your mind. When our love of God permeates every aspect of our being, our love covers sin. All of it. Our love conquers everything else that detracts from God and diminishes the love of God and the love for God. Bless you, son. Listen, love with heart, love with soul, love with strength, love with mind. Listen, when our love of God is that intense, we ain't just talking a good game, but when it's really that intense, when our love of God is our guiding light, our supreme value and principle, our love of God for God will cover every sin. That is, it will render it powerless over our lives. It will conquer, our love will conquer everything else that detracts from who God is and that will diminish the love of God. We all know that stuff comes into our life that's not of God. Y'all know that? Yes. Whether we want it to or not, it's going to get in our life. It's going to come in our language sometimes. Right? There's no surprise. There shouldn't be any surprise about stuff coming into our life. But what this passage is saying is, if our love for God is that great, our love of God and for God will kick out every invader that comes into our life. Even the ones that we like and invite. Y'all know there's some stuff that we let in, that we open the door wide for. What this is talking about is, if we truly love God with all, it'll even kick that stuff out. It will cleanse us from every foreign invader. Whenever we let anything else in our life control our thoughts, control our attitudes, control our actions, we're treating those things like a god. And if you love the Lord your God with all, your other god, that other little thing, has to go, has to get out. So look at your neighbor and tell them this. Your little God need to pack his bags. See, y'all scared to tell him. Because time's up, they gotta go. When you love your God with all heart, all soul, all strength, all mind, there is no room for expert didn't just remember that he was supposed to love God. He also remembered that he was supposed to love neighbor himself. Amen. For all of you who've been running around talking about I love God, it's just people I can't stand. Let this sink in for a minute. I know some of us have been saying that. Oh, I really love God, it's just people I can't stand. Right. The Lord had something for you. Amen. He asks him a question about loving God. But he did have a question about how to limit his responsibility to neighbor. So he asked, and who is my neighbor? Y'all been asking that? You got your list of who your real neighbors are? Right? Amen. Jesus responded to that question in the most revealing and demeaning way possible to the expert. Contrary to what I do. People ask me a question, I try to make them look good. I try to flatter them. Jesus was not interested in flattering the man with the question. He actually told him the truth about himself through the parable and the truth about his community. He wanted him to see who he was and the truth of who God is. So in this parable that Jesus told the man, Jesus did not highlight any charity work he had done, or even the role the Jews had played in making their community better, mainly because as a community, the Jews had neglected God's principle for loosing the cords of oppression, for healing the sick, for freeing those in bondage, for redeeming the lost and restoring hope. They had neglected all of that. The story he told was, Jesus told a story where God's people called to be light in the world was other than light. They instead ignored clear opportunities to act justly. Just take a brief look at your own life and see how many opportunities you've ignored. Man who had fallen in the hands of the robbers, we know the story. Been beaten, stripped, dying, and left for dead in plain sight. There's no guessing whether he needed help. The case was crystal clear. Many times people wonder, should you help the person with the sign on the street? Do they really need help? Legitimate question many times. But in this parable, Jesus told it was abundantly clear. Then he said, a priest saw him. Had the collar on and everything. Crossed the street and passed by on the other side. Then a Levite saw him. Did the same thing. Crossed the street, passed by on the other side. Both took clear steps to avoid seeing the extent of the abused man's pain. Both highlight everything that the expert in the law was. At times, brothers and sisters, we take steps to avoid seeing each other. We avoid noticing what we're going through. We avoid coming too close. Amen? Amen. We avoid us and our community listening to who God is. Me and us and our people, we come, amen, to dangerous people in trouble and we decide we don't see it. Then somebody that we don't respect, somebody this man didn't respect. He saw in the distance somebody who needed help, and instead of crossing on the other side, came and really looked at the condition of the man, came where the man was, and when he saw the man, he actually saw himself. Treat your neighbor as you would treat yourself. Took pity on him. Maybe the reason we don't come so close to those who've been beaten by life is because if we saw them, we'd have compassion. If we saw them, we'd bandage up their wounds. If we saw them, we would treat them. We would carry them to a place to recover. Amen? Amen. So this man who decided to go out of his way to come up close, paid for the man to be taken care of by a PCA. Praise God for PCAs. Amen. To watch and care for him. Then he himself came back to check in his progress because he saw himself and cared. Which one, Jesus asked, treated the neighbor as himself. Jesus told the expert person, expert in the law, neighbor is not about proximity, but about caring for the needs we see. Courage to see those who've been harmed by robbers and be moved with pity, compassion, actions. There are too many neighbors that we have avoided. We've avoided the homeless. We've avoided immigrant families who are not receiving enough food and water. We've avoided people who are being treated like criminals just for trying to feed their families. Amen. We avoided co-workers on our job who are being oppressed right next door to us. Amen. People in our neighborhoods, neighbors who don't have access to good jobs. Who do you avoid seeing? Think about it for a minute. Anybody that you go out of your way to avoid seeing their conditions? What do you think? Who? Homeless people. Amen. Who? Burned people. Go out. We don't even want to look at people who've been burned and marred.
Folks in front of the liquor store.
Folks in front of the liquor store. We avoid seeing them.
That's right. My neighbors who disrespect my neighborhood.
Your neighbors who disrespect. No, you can. It's not just what Deacon Ladora said, but all of us got neighbors who disrespect something that's dear to our heart. We don't want to look at them. We don't want to see them. Who do we avoid seeing? People who harm children. Who do we avoid seeing? Who do you avoid seeing? I didn't plan on this one, but I heard two stories that kind of emphasize what I'm talking about this one. So two of them. One man who was trying to find some freedom, who was educated, and I think he started off in Haiti, went to Brazil and found the same treatment in Brazil. Then he decided he was going to come to America and to these United States, and what he experienced when he came to these United States is he has been locked up for 2 years. His case finally got to court, and in court twice, a judge said that he was a good candidate for asylum, and twice these United States of America appealed that verdict. And then some people actually finally decided that they were going to join with somebody that they thought of as neighbor. This man, they didn't know him, but their hearts were just pricked when they saw him and decided to treat him like neighbor. And through a campaign of coming alongside of him and being a good friend, not easy work, they finally got someone to recognize that this man was connected to a community and could be let out of prison. Well, actually it wasn't prison, it was jail, because in some cases jail is worse than prison, because you can't even see the sunlight in jail because you're not supposed to be in there for a long time. But they saw somebody. What the members found. There was no other reason why they needed to come alongside of him other than they had compassion. Sometimes, brothers and sisters, we need to come alongside of people who will not benefit us in any way, but it will honor God. Just because we had pity. We had compassion. He's not free yet. Has an ankle bracelet still on. It might be years before he get a judgment. Actually, that's not true. They kept working, and eventually, even though these United States kept appealing the verdict, they finally, when they got into court and they saw that this man had support, they finally, the United States stopped appealing the verdict that he could be set free, and he got set free. He got asylum. Amen. That's one clear case where people went out of their way. Out of their way to be a neighbor. Sometimes, brothers and sisters, we just need to go out of our way to emphasize what God is calling us to do. When we know who we are, God's people, when we know that we're chosen and called by God, When we know our purpose, restoring righteousness and peace in the world, we'll stop walking by on the other side. We will see the wounded and tend to their trauma. We will provide respite and healing. What does it take? What do I have to do to inherit eternal life? A good first step, brothers and sisters, is stop responding to all your haters. So all of them emails that you got ready to go, right? All of those people that you're ready to just get back at them, right? Just cancel them for a minute. Stop trying to construct a response to people who don't mean you any good and are not going to be satisfied by your answer. That's a good step, right? We give them way too much of our time. We give haters way too much of our time. Try to prove way too much to them. Secondly, love God and know that our love for God, of God, gives us power to bandage our wounded neighbor, gives us power to restore them to life, and give us power to receive restoration from another lady who loves God like we love God. We don't miss anything, brothers and sisters, when we treat people right. When we treat people as ourselves. We do open ourselves that when we're harmed on the side of the road, somebody's going to stop by and help us. Right? We open up the world to really, truly care by those who've been left for dead, who've been left wounded, who've been left without resources. We open up the world to care about and care for them that much more. We really do. We open up the world to become more like what God wants it to be. Sometimes we think by ignoring people we'll have enough for ourselves. Not true. We cut ourselves off from the love of God and the love for God when we stop treating people the way we want to treat them. Amen. Even those who come for you, right? Amen. Even when people come for you, it's an opportunity. Show them the power of God, the love of God, and the love for Him. Praise God.
Let me speak life in your heart.